It began as an ordinary summer night in Noida, 2008, but by morning, a 13-year-old girl lay dead in her bedroom, her throat slit and her family's world shattered. Within hours, suspicion fell on the family's own house help. But then his body was discovered too. Two murders, one house, and soon one of the most controversial trials in Indian history. This is the story of Aarushi Talwar and Hemraj, a case that divided a nation, exposed the cracks in India's justice system, and left behind more questions than answers. The Talwar family lived in Jalvayu Vihar, Noida. Rajesh Talwar, a respected dentist, his wife Noopur, also a dentist, and their only child Aarushi, a bright, cheerful teenager who had just celebrated her 13th birthday. Helping in the house was 45-year-old Hemraj, a domestic worker from Nepal. By all accounts, he was trusted, loyal, and had worked with the family for years. But on the morning of May 16th, 2008, everything would change forever. At 6 a.m., Noopur Talwar opened Arushi's bedroom door. The sight she witnessed would haunt her forever. Aarushi lay motionless on her bed, her throat slit with surgical precision. Her head bore a deep wound, likely from a blunt object. The Talwars immediately suspected Hemraj. He was missing from the house, and police assumed he had fled after killing Aarushi. But a day later, on May 17th, the police made a shocking discovery. On the terrace, locked from the inside, lay Hemraj's decomposed body. He had been murdered, with his throat slit and head bludgeoned. What began as a case of suspected runaway servant had now become a double murder. From the start, the investigation was riddled with errors. The Noida police failed to secure the crime scene. Family, relatives, and even curious onlookers walked freely through the Talwar's home. Potential evidence was contaminated, fingerprints smudged, blood samples mishandled. The police quickly floated theories. One was of honor killing, alleging that Rajesh Talwar had caught Aarushi in a compromising position with Hemraj and killed them both in a fit of rage. But this theory rested on speculation, not hard evidence, and yet the Talwars soon found themselves portrayed as murderers in the eyes of public. With the police under fire, the case was transferred to the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI. The first CBI team focused on three men: Krishna, who worked at Rajesh's clinic, Rajkumar, a domestic help in a neighboring home, and Vijay Mandal, a local driver. Narco analysis and polygraph tests suggested involvement, but these were not admissible in court. The evidence wasn't strong enough. Later, the second CBI team shifted suspicion back to the Talwars, arguing that only they had the opportunity since the house was locked from inside and had no sign of forced entry. But the truth was, the case had no clear direction, and the story was about to take another dramatic turn. In 2011, the CBI filed a closure report. It admitted there wasn't enough evidence to charge anyone, but at the same time, it pointed suspicion towards Talwars themselves. The Ghaziabad court rejected the closure report and instead summoned Rajesh and Noopur Talwar as accused. The trial began in 2012 and soon turned into a media circus. The prosecution argued that the Talwars had murdered Aarushi and Hemraj to protect their honor. The defense countered the investigation was botched, evidence mishandled, and no real motive was established. But in 2013, the special CBI court convicted Rajesh and Noopur Talwar of double murder. They were sentenced to life in prison. For many, this was justice delivered. For others, it was a grave miscarriage of justice. The media played a central role in shaping public opinion. Night after night, TV debates speculated on Aarushi's character, on alleged affairs, and even accused her father of sexual misconduct. Much of it was hearsay, but it stuck. The Supreme Court later criticized the sensational coverage, warning against yellow journalism that destroys reputations without evidence. For Hemraj's family in Nepal, however, the story was simpler. They still believed the Talwars were guilty and justice had not been served for their son. Relatives of the Talwars launched campaigns to clear their names. Websites like justiceforarushitalwar.com, Facebook pages, and Twitter campaigns argued that the parents were victims of a failed justice system. Nupur Talwar even began writing a book in prison to tell her side of the story. In October 2017, the Allahabad High Court acquitted the Talwars. The judges described the CBI's theory as patently absurd and ruled that the parents could not be held guilty beyond reasonable doubt. After 4 years in prison, Rajesh and Nupur walked free. But the murders of Aarushi and Hemraj remain unsolved to this day. In 2018, the CBI appealed to the Supreme Court, challenging the High Court's acquittal. The case remains technically open, though no fresh evidence has emerged. Meanwhile, the memory of Aarushi lingers, not only as a victim, but as the center of a case that revealed deep cracks in Indian criminal justice system. 2 innocent lives were lost, a family was torn apart, the police, the CBI, and even the court seems unable to provide clarity, and the media had turned a tragedy into a spectacle. 15 years later, the question remains, who killed Aarushi and Hemraj? The truth may never be known. What do you think? Were Rajesh and Nupur Talwar victims of a broken system, or were they hiding the truth all along? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. All this information is what I gathered from the internet. I'm sorry if I missed anything or if anything isn't fully accurate. Let me know in the comments what I should cover next. Thank you. Stay safe and stay curious.